Hey everyone, this is Donald the Repentless, just making a quick vlog. I've talked a little bit about how I used to use marijuana in the past. This time I'm going to go back to my childhood. I didn't smoke marijuana as a child. I didn't smoke marijuana until I was in my 20s. But when I was young, I had these babysitters, Ron and Debbie Angel. Ron and Debbie Angel. I've always wondered what happened to them after this, because I never saw them again, and after they moved out of town. But they were my babysitters. We lived in a trailer house, and they were renting a house like 2 houses down, and they used to smoke marijuana a lot. They had a big old, I think it was a hookah, to be honest with you, but it was a big old beast of a thing that they used to smoke out of, which was kind of a good thing for me, because they'd put us to bed. Their children would go to sleep right away. But I noticed that when they started smoking on this big apparatus thing, after a while I could just go back in the living room, and if I was quiet and sit in the corner or something, I could sit there and watch TV with them all night, and they wouldn't even know I was there. And I did that a lot. That's how I saw Halloween for the first time. I was young. I don't remember the age, but I wasn't even 9 years old, I think. And I never really found those kind of movies really scary. They're kind of suspenseful, but the suspense didn't come from the story, from the stuff that most people would consider scary. The suspense, for me, was always, okay, how is Michael going to kill this guy? What's he going to do to this girl? Or that kind of thing. And I watched another movie that I probably shouldn't have at that age. It was called The Tin Drum. If you've never heard of it, Google it. It's a really interesting movie. It's a German movie from the 1970s. This ought to tell you something about it. It was banned in Oklahoma City for being borderline child pornography, because about this little boy who threw himself down some stairs so he wouldn't age. And he didn't age. He didn't grow up like a normal kid. And he still looked like he was like 4 or 5 when he was 16 years old, which is the scene in which it was banned for borderline child porn. The kid who played the Oscar was like 12 years old. And there was a scene where he performs fellatio on a 24-year-old girl who's playing a 16-year-old babysitter. So he was 16. The character was also 16, but because he looked like a 4-year-old, he had to have a babysitter. But anyways, I remember one time, my mom was over at their house, and this movie came. I said, "Oh, I remember this movie. I like this movie." And it was a Tin Drum. Like I said, if just look it up. It's a 1978 German movie. I used to have it on Betamax, as a matter of fact, when I had a Betamax player. And the reason I had it is because it was dubbed in English. A lot of the versions I find online tend to be subtitled. I don't like subtitles. I read a lot, but I don't like reading the dialogue of the movie, which is why I try to, when I watch anime, for example, I try to stick to dubbed versions if I can. If I can't find a dubbed version, I will slug my way through the subtitled version. But anyways, that's also how I came to appreciate Doctor Who, because whenever, it's like Saturday night, it was on PBS about 11 o'clock at night. And by that time, they would be usually baked, and I'd be in the living room quietly watching TV with them, and they would watch Doctor Who, and that was the first time I watched Doctor Who, and I'm still a huge fan of Doctor Who today. But, something else I was going to talk about, oh yeah, it's funny. Now, I worked for Convergys for 4.5 years. Towards the end there, I would go out to a club, a bar here in town. It's called the Chalk Horse now, but it was something 8-ball or something like that back in the day. And then I'd go with a bunch of my co-workers, and I would, you know, basically stay there until they closed at 2 o'clock, because in Idaho you have to stop selling alcohol at 2 a.m. So, you know, the manager was trying to find a reason to fire me, and I was sitting there and I was drinking and I was drunk, and this is after the bar closed, and we're sitting in the car out in the parking lot, and somebody, you know, filled the bowl and was passing it around, and I was like, you know, they're gonna find a reason to fire me anyway, so what the hell, I'm gonna, you know, I took a couple of hits off the it was a pipe, but anyways, I wouldn't have normally done that, but like I said, I was so stressed out with this seemingly campaign to get me fired from Convergist that it's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna just smoke this bowl with them, you know. Anyways, this, you know, I might tell other stories about my youth, other stories about whatever. It's kind of strange. The last couple of ones that I did, that I talked about legalizing marijuana, and I talked about how I become a master baker whenever I get stoned. I've done pretty well, you know, compared to most of the videos I make, which is why part of the reason why I'm making this video, so sort of test out if these stories are, you know, what bringing people to watch them, or what it is, you know. And I never said I would never smoke marijuana again. I just want to make that clear. If the circumstances were right, I might. It's not something I intentionally go looking for, or intentionally would look for, but under the right circumstances, I might. But anyways, not to go much longer, just kind of wrap it up. This is Donald the Repentless. If you like this video, thumbs up, share it on social media, subscribe to my channel for more riveting content. Woo! This is Donald the Repentless, signing off. Be awesome, everyone.